we've seen just tremendous increase in yield, primarily due to technology, whether that's equipment and or seed technology, genetics, et cetera. I think kind of the next wave from a yield standpoint is going to be a lot of what we discuss in the realm of ESG, sustainable ag, regenerative practices, however you want to label those, and what the potential impact on yield, favorable or not, might be as those practices are implemented.
Let's talk a little more about that, right? Because I think there's a lot of interest in ESG and everything from solar to wind.
Yeah.
And are we starting to see in those 300,000 acres, are we starting to see improvement? I mean, that kind of investment as well as row crop, or how's that working?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I would say, I mean, folks like to kind of romanticize perspectives, right? Or not even perspectives, perceptions.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Right. Or spin them.
Yes. And so, I think it's clear that there's a camp that is not fond of institutional investment in farmland or potentially in real estate in general. There's also, I think, a view, and I did not come from a farming family, right?
Okay.
I'm here by choice, not by destiny. And there's often a romanticized view of what farming is like, right? I mean, it's like a Norman Rockwell sort of postcard.
Yeah.
Couldn't be further from the truth. And so what I think, if we look back at our own portfolio, and we've got some great, peers, I'll call them kind of our frenemies in terms of institutional farmland investors, the amount of resources that we can put into properties after we acquire them is just insane.
Well, you can transform,
average, right?
Right.
And so we spend, and hear me out here because I'm going to get back to kind of the specifics on ESG, but irrigation and drainage, right?
Yes.
On-farm storage, conversion of fossil fuel power, irrigation wells over to electric, right? I would view these as kind of layups. In a lot of instances, individual owners and families either don't have the resources, the financial resources, to just cut a big check really anytime they would like. Or there's multiple people pulling on the purse strings, right? We're able to make that happen. We're able to make it happen pretty rapidly. The same thing with ESG, right? We've spent just an inordinate amount of time over the last decade thinking through what is actually realistic, and what can be implemented across scale, right? And so, in a lot of cases, they're not real exciting to read about because it's everything like cover crops, looking at riparian buffers around perimeters of fields. That kind of gets old. You're not going to see it on the front page of the paper. And those practices make the biggest difference. We bring financial resources to the table where we can either give our tenants, some sort of kind of cushion as it relates to their operation for implementing new practices, or we can pay to have the things done on our own. And that's something that I think really differentiates the institutional community relative to kind of your standard individual ownership.